bothering me. Yes, did what did Yes, did what did Will somebody tell
Hi
me what
everybody, this is
did what
DR Drake
did
63. Today we're going to talk about the Magpul 2-point/1 point convertible sling. Give you a little bit more detail in a minute. I hope you enjoy. Okay guys, today we're going to look at and talk about the Magpul MS3 Gen 2 sling, which is a multi-mission sling system, it says. We'll explain what multi-mission means and all of that good stuff coming up. But here's their schematic. You see these lots of different places. So easy to get. Okay, the first thing you see when you see these slings is they have all these different straps, all these different connections. As you can see right here, I've got these attached to QD mounts. Show you how those work in a minute, but these are pretty slick. But this is a 2-point sling that can be converted to a 1-point sling. Now what does that mean? Because you hear that stuff a lot. Well, this right here, which is called the D-ring, also doubles as a place to clamp on your other part of your sling, and I'll show you all that in a second, but that's what would make it a 1-point sling. You're only connecting to the rifle at 1 point here versus 1 point and another point, or 2 points on the rifle. So again, we'll show you how that works in a minute. So first thing we want to look at on this rifle here, the part that has the D-ring goes in the rear, okay? In this particular case, there's a place to mount this right below your castle nut, which is nice. Okay, some guys want to mount it out here on the end of the buttstock. I'm not one of those guys. So you want to make sure that if you're right-handed, and this is my right hand, you want to make sure that you're going up over your right shoulder and then from and back. Here's my QD, and it goes into this mount right here, and it just pops right in. It's pretty slick, and that's in there really good. So here I am, and this is how a lot of guys will run the 2-point sling. Now, why have it like this? Well, first of all, here's your buttstock and here's your shoulder. So I'm up and I'm able to get shouldered with this rifle real easily, or I'm able to put it right here. I'm also able to put it to the side and draw a sidearm very easily. So it serves that purpose. Now, in the case of this particular one, the Magpul, you've got a buckle right here that allows you to adjust this down or tighten it up. And again, you really want this buttstock right about the height where it needs to go. So again, you're ready to get behind this, okay? Now, when people talk about making this a 2-point sling, all that means is I'm detaching from 1 point at the front of my rifle, and now on this D-ring, and that's what we're talking about. So again, you've got the ability to get up underneath it. I don't like that particular feeling, but a lot of guys want to be able to use the tension here to help stabilize their firearm. You can see it right here. I've got that tension under my arm, so you have that ability. But this is something that if you're someone who is a law enforcement officer, if you're somebody who is actively carrying one of these types of rifles, or you're a combatant, you're a soldier, you're going to use these things a lot. If you're a guy like me, who most of your time you're spending at the range, you're not going to use this a lot. In fact, this is probably not even going in the range bag. So these are for the guys that are actively running and gunning, shooting and scooting, whatever you want to call it. And you don't see this so much with with guys that aren't using them in that manner. And so that's why somebody like myself, this particular setup is something that I'm not super familiar with. Here, I'm a guy that can tell you about every part of this firearm. I can talk to you about building uppers, building lowers. I can talk to you about optics. I can talk to you about triggers. I can talk to you about any part of this particular rifle. But what I know the least about is use in a combat situation. And hey, I'm just being honest with you guys here. There's guys that look good posing, but for me, that's a part of this hobby that I haven't jumped too much into, which is moving around and doing that kind of stuff. These slings are pretty slick. Don't really see a need to actually loosen this up too much. I guess if I had a long walk or something like that, I might want to drop this down a little bit, like so. But for the most part, I'm going to have this is going to be hiked up to about here. And again, like I said, ready to go, ready to go. I see a threat and I'm able to shoulder this rifle very quickly. So that's kind of the rundown on these 2-point versus 1-point. And again, 2-point, what you see here, I'm attached to the rifle at 2 points. 1-point, what you see here, I'm hooked up to this, what's called the D ring, because it's shaped like a D. I'm hooked up to the D ring and I'm attached to the rifle at 1 point. There's advantages to both for folks that switch shoulders, things like that. I am the most right-handed person you'll ever meet. So I doubt if I'd ever switch shoulders, and certainly in the world of the 54-year-old non-combatant, never going to see combat kind of guy, probably not a skill I'm going to work on too much. But I think these are really cool types of systems. I can understand definitely why they exist, and something like this as opposed to just a straight sling over your shoulder and grab your rifle, I definitely get it. And if you're going to be carrying this thing around all day, you definitely want to have the ability to carry it easily, but also get up on top however you shoot. I kind of tend to do both, or some kind of combination here with this foregrip, but this is about it for me. So I hope that kind of helps give the overview of, this is Magpul's version. There's a bunch of them out there. There's ones that I've seen that look like they might be a little bit simpler than this. This one has lots of different straps and buckles going on. This is the second one I bought. The first one I took apart. I actually bought the second one to figure out how to put the first one back together. And I'm a pretty dexterous guy, and it's just more of a matter of this thing's a complicated sling. When I told you there was a lot going on with this particular sling, I wasn't kidding. Now this is a QD mount, as we discussed, which has some spring-loaded roller bearings right here, so this pops in real easily. Then this is attached to a pretty robust spring-loaded clamp that locks in place, just like that, okay? Next, you have a buckle, which holds that piece to this piece, which is your adjustment strap. This slides up and down, allowing you to adjust, about 8 inches, 9 inches of play. Okay, so here you have this loop strap. Goes through this buckle. This buckle is attached to this strap. This strap then again is for adjusting the overall length, and then you have your D-ring. This is where you can attach off of the front of your rifle into this piece to turn it into a 1-point sling. Then you have your other clamp, which is going to be in the rear, and another QD mount. So all told, there's quite a bit going on here in this setup. So when I said, if you take this apart, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you might have a hard time figuring out what you're doing. So my advice to you, if you buy the Magpul sling, don't take it apart. Learn how to operate it, and you'll be good to go. But with a QD system like this, I'd highly recommend this. It will work for any purposes that you're going to have, and it's very sturdy. I like the thickness of the web, very comfortable on the shoulder. So, and this is wearing a t-shirt, so just imagine how it's going to play out, if you've got a sweatshirt, if you've got a coat, something like that. So I hope this is kind of helpful for you. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying Thanks for watching.